We're ready to start. I'd like to welcome you all to the August Town Hall. My name is Lisa Langford. I'm the Global Partnership Lead for Turn.io. I'm chatting to you today from a rainy London, which is very, very welcomed after we, especially in Europe, and those who are joining me from Europe today have been experiencing quite a drought. So we're very thankful for that weather. We look forward to hearing from two very exciting organizations today, one being Saja, joining us from India, and then also Kiredi and I support from South Africa. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the team from Kiredi, Marlene, and she is going to share through her use case with us. Over to you, Marlene.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here in Durban, South Africa. It is very dry here too. It's actually 31 degrees today and it's winter, so we're a bit confused. I am from I Support Creative Business, a digital communications agency. We mainly work with the creative arts sector as well as the NGO sector. And we were asked by DGMT, the DJ Mary Trust, to run a digital campaign by the name of Kiredi, which means I am ready in Sesotho, one of our local languages. And it was basically created as a campaign to encourage young people to get vaccinated against COVID-19 and to say, are you ready for the new world? That's where the I am ready is coming from. Are you ready to take on life again? Or as we often refer to, go back to the new normal. And one of the case studies that I wanted to bring forward today was a competition that we've been running by the name of Get Ready to Flex. And that is where, ultimately with that big project, that is where our WhatsApp line started. You can go to the next slide so you can see like the artwork. So anyone could submit their creative works that would encourage young people to get vaccinated. We basically heard from research was done and youth, I think as all over the world, doesn't want to listen to the government, doesn't want to be told. So we wanted to hear what young people had to say about vaccinations and what young people would create to encourage their peers to get vaccinated. So at the time, that could be anything. We got paintings, we got dance, we got lots and lots and lots of music, songs, little sketches, we got whole films. And all of that was submitted to us through WhatsApp. And then at the same time, we started using the WhatsApp line to somewhat rope these young people in to also start getting informed about vaccination. And we used it as a line where people could ask questions, directly chat with our doctors to ask questions about vaccination. So obviously we had a menu you had to go through, but if you could not find what you were looking for, at the end you would be connected to a doctor who would then give answers to your questions. We then gave away prizes. We had 15 winners each week, 100,000 rands in weekly prizes. So that is obviously a big thing to sort of rope lots of traffic into the WhatsApp line. And additionally, I think what was quite interesting as well, because not everyone has access to social media, maybe not even everyone has access to WhatsApp. So we involved, I think, 150 NGOs in the country to be sort of a collection point for those submissions. So we also had NGOs contacting us through our WhatsApp line to submit for their young people. Then you can go to the next slide. So obviously the problem, as I already stated, low vaccination rates among South African young people. A lot of fake news was spread through social media, which was also, we wanted to, through the competition, also use social media to spread a positive sound about vaccination and debunk or maybe even overshadow the myths without going into discussion or having to go into discussion with anti-vaxxers. So we shared the latest facts, information about vaccination, and the youth can then eventually speak to a doctor and had our creative competition through which young people could share their messages. Now, in terms of scale, we grew very, very fast, I think, especially in the beginning. The South African government decided to back us up by sending out SMSs as well with our number. So that suddenly came with a huge amount of traffic. And I think within maybe 2 months' time, we reached 50,000 users. And at the moment, we are over, I think in 2 months' time, we reached 40,000 users. And at the moment, we're over 50,000 users. And we got 13,500 submissions for our competition. You can move, thank you. The key learnings, I think we learned, and it's something we already knew, but that WhatsApp is a great method. We used WhatsApp already for smaller competitions that we were doing. We used to run a competition for a poetry festival where also people could submit their poems through WhatsApp. It's a really engaging method, I think, and a great way to access that youth market. But I also think that we really experienced that it was a fantastic way, like the turn system for us was a fantastic way to also archive the submissions. We ended up giving the jury access to the submissions on the WhatsApp line, so we didn't have to download it and put it all in one place. They just had access. They created a collection for us with the best submissions in there, so that in our weekly meeting, we could go through them. And then I also think what was very important for us is using the system to almost validate and verify. We did a few smaller competitions like airtime giveaways without using the WhatsApp line. And running competitions comes with a lot of scamming. It comes with a lot of, when announcing winners, people would immediately within seconds copy profiles of the winners and inbox us and say, look, I'm the winner. And it really helped so that we could say, so what is the number you submitted with, and look for that person and say, hey, but that's not you. So also to verify and validate, it really helped. Even now, still, we can look back that user history when we communicate with people and say, oh, this person submitted for the competition already, and this was their submission. Everything is kept almost in an unintentional, really archive for us. Of course, planning ahead is best, but we hit the ground running. I am sure Kanya remembers that we phoned on Monday and we said by Friday, we need to have this line up and we don't have a plan yet. So everything moved very, very fast. And we really developed a lot of systems as we went. And but obviously looking back, there's a lot of things that could have avoided a lot of stress as well. So as always, planning is the best. And what we're doing now, because initially we approached Turn with the idea we're going to have this WhatsApp line for a month, and then we're just going to move forward to another competition. But now really the Get Ready project has been taken over by another funder. So that's great news. And we're turning it now into a still ask the doctors, ask your health professional. So at the moment, we're already slowly starting to get questions in around any other topic that concerns the youth, which could be help. I had sex without a condom. What must I do now? It could be HIV related questions. Of course, there's still questions about vaccines, but we're slowly, even our menu is still vaccine related, but we're now in a phase where we're slowly turning it into an overall health sort of question app. So we're still developing, we're still thinking, looking at the possibilities. One of our big projects at the moment is also that we're running a podcast. So we're also looking at the possibilities of chopping the podcast into pieces, because it's 30-minute episodes, and seeing if we can use them as voice notes into the line. So that is sort of still in the research process. But it really helps that, because at the moment we're not pushing the line very hard, but I think a lot of people have it in their phone and just check in every once in a while and say hi and see if the menu has changed. And so it's great that sort of we've managed to build up that user base. So this is our WhatsApp line at the moment, what it looks like at the moment. As you can see, we also try and drive traffic to the podcast website that way. There's a QR code to access it, and our website, getready.co.za. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marlene. I really like two things that you mentioned. One, the use of collections for your judging panel. That's the first, and I love the way that you use the product actually to solve a problem as for your judging panelists, making that workflow a lot shorter and easier for you as a team. And then you pointed out WhatsApp is such an easy channel to get launched quickly. I know we all love to work a little bit more with time and planning, but sometimes life throws you these curveballs, and it's such a great tool to get into market, into the hands of end users who desperately need it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the future holds for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we are going to hand over to Manvika Sharma from Saja, and she and her team is going to be taking us through their use case in India. I think you might be on mute, Manvika.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Manvika, and I'm going to represent Sanja along with my colleague Akash. I presently lead the Saja WhatsApp services, and Akash leads the technology part. So what does Saja do? Basically, Saja is, it translates into to share. And we want to create an ecosystem for parents so that they feel connected and supported in their effort to bring change in the lives of their children, particularly the education of their children. And so Saja has for almost more than a decade working towards parent and community leadership. This is the primarily background of Saja. Can we move to the next slide? So why we started our WhatsApp services, basically it commenced during the pandemic, where we felt even more need to support our parents who are basically from underprivileged background, who need constant support, information. So we wanted to provide a platform for parents so that they can access learning related content, where they can ask queries related to their children's education and basically be empowered through information so that they can support their children's education. We also wanted to support our in-house programs, which are again designed for parents to impact children's learning level. Next slide. So here I want to discuss about the kind of solutions that we have come up to support our parents. So this is, first we have started a chat service. And here I'm trying to explain to you the natural journey that a usual end user follows before joining Saja. So our representatives initially promote about our helpline numbers in communities and schools. And from there, we tell them about Saja services, we ask for their permission, and once they are interested, they just give us a missed call on our toll-free number. Once they drop the missed call, they immediately receive a WhatsApp message through our Saja's WhatsApp number. And based on that, they have to complete the opt-in process. So once they complete the opt-in process, which is fairly simple, they have to click certain buttons. Once it's completed, they can immediately access our three broad services, one of which is customized learning level-wise content. This is based on assessments that we do in-house of the children of these parents. So this content is according to the learning level of the child. Then we also have content on our bot, which is basically on school information as well as parent-child engagement. Then they can also chat and call our representative to ask questions, regarding their children's education. Next slide. Apart from that, we have also tried to integrate certain tools with our chat service, some of which are still in pilot. I would like to discuss them briefly. So first is speech to text for reading evaluation. We use this for story-based assessments of the child. The audio speech that we receive from the child gets converted into the text. And based on that assessment, we score the child, how well the child has read the story based on the original text, the correct text of the story. Then we also have dialogue flow integration. It is used to add a natural layer to natural language processing to understand the intent of the user and trigger a response accordingly. So basically, if somebody has asked question regarding admission, they can get response on admission on the chat service. Then we also have an in-house tool called Flow Builder, through which we send messages in a flow with certain time interval. So it's very helpful when we have to send multiple messages in a particular flow where we want to, and this we use for sending content according to the learning level of the child. Then we also have data dashboards like BigQuery and Data Studio, which we often refer to make data-informed decisions. Next slide. So currently, we've been able to reach around 47,028 parents, and we have exchanged around 14,47,314 messages on WhatsApp. We are hoping that we are going to reach about 50,000 more parents by end of next year. So one of our key learnings were that we constantly need to update our content. It needs to be very simple for the audience because our audience is very, they are not very tech savvy. They need to have very simple information, and it needs to be updated, and it needs to cater to the end user continuously. It also needs to be disseminated regularly so that they stay engaged with us. Then we also learned that we have to keep on looking at data and develop insights to make content and flow related decisions. Another thing that we are working on is to develop a very simple onboarding process. Like I told you earlier, that our audience is not very tech savvy. They find it difficult or are fearful of clicking on certain links or scanning a QR code. So that's why we developed something like a missed call, where they can drop a missed call and get a message on WhatsApp and start the onboarding process. So we are continuously working towards developing simpler process for onboarding of our audience. Then creating integrated systems like missed call, onboarding, Data Studio, machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence tools, and other webhooks gives us more insights on how we can improve the services for the end user. So this is again one of our key learnings. You can access it through our QR code and our WME link. So that's about it.
Thank you so much for that, Manvika. Sure. I'm really excited about your service, and I love the way that you've built already these interesting flows. I think you would be a good team to start using the Build 2.0 flow builder that we have released. And I would love to see how we can help you make that flows and that conversations a lot easier. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm going to pause here for a second for any questions for Manvika or Marlene. I know there were a few questions in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself and just ask the team. I'm just going to go through. I see here that there was one specific thing for you, Manvika. It's great to see what you've done. Is the most of your operations logic custom?
Yes, it is, but I think Akash is going to answer it more efficiently. Akash, can you respond to this question?
Yeah, sure. So when we are talking about okay, I'm assuming that your question is related to custom. Yeah, I think most of our operational logic is custom. So how it's working is, for example, let's say that when we are talking about the flow builder, okay, how it's done is one of the major things that we saw on the turn was all the flows that we can create, or let's say the threads which we can create are very static. You are actually expecting something from the user's end, and a lot of times what we require is you want to send them some sort of message, let's say after 20 minutes, let's say a reminder message if they haven't responded to us, right? So in order to solve those problems, I think we have come up with a lot of customizations ourselves. We have used as much like most of the features what Turn has given, whether it be APIs, whether it be webhooks. We have tried to explore everything. And I think, as Lizzie has already said, we will definitely we are already looking into the build feature, and just trying to explore how we can create stacks, and also come up with even better flows, and just better service overall.
Great, thank you.
I hope that
yeah, no, that definitely helps. Really appreciate it. And then great work in getting this up and running. Sounds like a really cool product.
Fantastic. Thank you again so much. For any of you who want to access these case studies, we will be sharing this deck and all the URLs afterwards. And then feel free to connect with one another within the forum and the community. That's why we built the community, so that you can have those kind of connections with one another. Moving on to the community, I'm handing over to Gustav, who's joining us from Cape Town today, one of the founders, and he'll be taking you through the community section.
Great. As Lisa said, I'm joining you from a freezing and very wet Cape Town, but lovely to see such a great turnout as well. These our town halls are getting bigger and bigger, and I think also the other really amazing thing is both Saja and Key Ready seeing the really great service they're building. Every month now, the complexity and the scale of these services are increasing. So just really impressive the work that the guys are doing. My favorite part always is in these town halls is to talk about the new services and the new community members that have joined us, and the type of and the use cases that they're building out. So very happy to welcome today in the last month Guidepost, who joined us, who are a tremendous organization focusing on a really hectic problem that we face globally. Almost 10% of our global population is struggling with either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. Guidepost has been building out a solution over the last couple of years that uses telephonic and coaching support for patients who suffer from diabetes to improve their health conditions, and they are going to be using Turn and WhatsApp specifically to supercharge their coaching program to help people with diabetes. So we're really excited to see how that's going to work. They're going to be able to scale their impact throughout Africa, and scaling up specifically the work around diabetes. Then we've got World Resource Institute. They are, as you guys know, the code of organizations that are working specifically in the environment is growing, and World Resource Institute is looking to reclaim and rehabilitate over 100 million hectares of forest in Africa. So using WhatsApp to work with indigenous and other people to support them in this transition and reclaiming natural forests in Africa. Amazing use case. Rising Academies, another partner. We've seen their work. They've been doing incredible work in West Africa, specifically Sierra Leone, and now Ghana as well. Throughout COVID, we all know the impact that COVID had on education in Africa and around the world. And Rising Academies have built a bot called Rory. You'll see more of that in the next couple of months. Hopefully they'll be demoing. They're also using Stacks, by the way, to launch their new bot. And they specifically are going to be working around education and supporting and coaching young people through math, and using Turn to do that. So that's Rising Academies. And the last two partners that we want to welcome today are one from Mozambique and one from Mexico. And they targeting an area that we know is a really big issue post-COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of problems in terms of being economically active. And Jeanette is working in Mozambique, and they will be doing financial inclusion, specifically for women. And Zamba will be helping young people in driving employment for them in Mexico. And so, yeah, we just want to welcome these really fantastic organizations, amazing work they're going to be doing, and we hope to see their case studies in the next town halls in the next couple of months. And then I know we've been talking about this, but I want to, for those who haven't seen this yet, we launched the Chat for Impact Accelerator. last month, and the closing date, remember, is on the September the 21st, which is just more than a month away from now. Remember, we've got more than $500,000 in unrestricted funding that's being made available to any organization, or at least to 20 organizations that want to accelerate their work. The whole idea, this is the second year we're running the accelerator. Last year was the inaugural year, and so we focused a lot on launching new services. This year, that's not a requirement. So if you already have a service, you can still apply. So everybody on this call today, if you have a service already, these are unrestricted funds specifically to accelerate your work. In other words, if you have a bot already, or if you have a WhatsApp service, or if you have a social impact service that you want to accelerate, you can apply these funds to that. There's another $500,000 in support from our team, and obviously we will be running workshops from October into the summit, which will be in November. So please get onto I think the link is on the chat window. Click on the link and apply. It's only a one-page application form. The one caveat is if you don't yet have a service, the one change made this year is we do want organizations to already have a WABA, so a WhatsApp line. So you need to come to one of our boot camps, which are free, and you can onboard. And once you're onboarded, you can apply for the accelerator. Really exciting there. And then these are the boot camps. We have education boot camp is tomorrow. If you are doing any work in the education field, please come to tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of interesting examples around some of the use cases and case studies and how you can use WhatsApp and Turn to accelerate your work. The civic participation and election boot camp will be on September the 6th, which is in 2 weeks' time. As you probably know, a lot of organizations have been using WhatsApp specifically to empower voters to either do voter registration or to combat misinformation and fake news. And we're really proud of the work that these organizations have been doing in the last couple of months. And so that's going to be a really interesting boot camp. And then we've got two global impact boot camps, one for EMEA and APAC, that's on the September the 14th, and one for the Americas on September the 15th. And then the final boot camp will be for health. And that'll probably be in October sometime. We finalizing the dates just now to make sure that we can get time zones working, get as many people as possible to participate. But really exciting, these boot camps, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger as well. Lots of really exciting work that we will be discussing, and specifically use cases that are around those verticals and the specific solutions and the playbooks that'll help accelerate work if you are working in those verticals. And please also let us know if there's any other information that you want specifically that fall outside of this. The Global Impact Bootcamps in September are not for a specific vertical. So if you're doing work outside of education or health or civic participation, then feel free to do that. And enough announcements, over to the more fun stuff, the product. And Nielke is going to talk us through that. Thanks, Nielke.
Hi, everyone. It's lovely to meet up with you. I'm Nielke, I'm from the Turn team, and I will share our latest product updates with you. Firstly, very excited to share that you can now send custom voice notes from the reply box. You will see on the slide, there's a little quote from Olico Maths. And when I chatted to Patrick a while ago, and many of you have shared it with us, that there are just times when you want to send a custom voice note, you want to explain a complex situation or a concept to someone. And I know that a lot of you have hacked around it, uploading those voice notes, and now we made it easy. So on the reply box, you will see a little recording icon. You can click that. You click the start recording, you can pause the recording, you can stop it. Once you're happy, you can attach it, and you can even type a little message with it, and you can send it to the user. So have fun with that. And yeah, the idea is really to make especially the help desk experience and replying, giving human responses to people much more easy. Then the second update I have for you is that we've launched a date range picker, and that is on the Insight page. So to date on the Insights page, you can see your 7, your 30 and your 90-day stats. But we know sometimes you do a campaign and the campaign ran for 5 days and you want to see the specific numbers for those for that time, maybe 5 days or 10 days, and something outside the available period. So what you can do now, you select custom range, and then you can click your start date, click your end date, and see what happened on those dates. Do note that the custom range still falls within the 90-day period, but you can play around and look at whatever makes sense for your service. So that's on the insights update. And then last month at Town Hall, we spoke a lot about build and stacks, and we realized that it's still very new to a lot of you, so we're going to continue talking about it. I want to share an update with you, our latest update. So what we have done, if you have used stacks and maybe you haven't, I'll just chat you through it, but you can create a more complex flow with stacks. And what we've added this week is that you can also, in your preview, so as you see how the conversation happens, you can now set up fake or fictitious users. So think about maybe you have a certain logic flow for learners and a slightly different for educators, or maybe you go multilingual, so you have English users and you have French users. And then as you set it up, you can also test that experience. So I have a demo video for you that Nathaniel recorded for us. Nathaniel is a team member in Ethiopia, and let's hear from him and how that worked.
Hi everyone, I'm Nathi from the Turn engineering team, and I'm here to tell you about a new thing we've added to the Stack simulator that we're calling personas. So let's get into it. Here we have a text that says, "Welcome Danny," and we have two buttons with it. And here's the code for that. So let's look at the text. It says, "Welcome," and then @contact.whatsapp profile name. We can see that this has been replaced with Danny here. But who is Danny, or where's Danny coming from? Well, whenever you're using the Stack simulator, the simulator generates a fake person for you. So it's always there, but now we've added this thing here so that you can access and edit this fake person. So this person has a name Deontay, WhatsApp profile name of Danny, and all this information here. The cool thing is you can edit this person. So you can kind of create your own person and see how that person interacts with your stack. So here we have the language, which is set to Afar right now. So let's do something with that. Right now, this button 1 has 3 variations it can respond with. So the first variation is when the contact language is English, it says hello, the person's name. And when the contact language is French, it says bonjour, the person's name. And the last variation is when the language is neither of these, it says nothing here. So right now our contact language is Afar. So it's neither this or this. So it's going to show this one. So when I click on one, it says nothing here. Okay, great. So it responds as we expected. So now let's change the language to English. So this person has their language set to English. And let's start again. So now when I click on one, it says hello Deontay, because the language is set to English. This is what it responds with. The contact name is Deontay right now, so that's where Deontay is coming from. Okay, so let's edit the language once again to French. Okay, all right. I'm gonna restart again. So it says welcome Danny. So when I click on one this time, my contact language has been set to French. So it says bonjour Deontay. All right, so we kind of created 3 kinds of people, kind of. One that has set their language to English, one that had set it to French, and one that had set its language to Afar. So we kind of tested the personalization that we've added here in the code by kind of creating our own fake users here with their own languages and all sorts of information. So yeah, you can kind of test how your stacks react to things this way. So this is personas. Thank you.
Great. I hope you guys could see that. We will also share the slides and you can look at the video again. But yeah, I know build is new and stacks are new, but it's very exciting. It's very great to see and to plan and to script your things, to build your services for different people, and then off the bat see how it reacts. Then it brings me to another announcement. We are deprecating goals. So for, I think, especially our starting turn users, you will be quite familiar with goals. We designed it right at the start when Turn was only a help desk product. So managing goals and behaviors for users manually as part of the operator flow was the use case at that stage. But since then, automation changed the game significantly, and we now know that we need to build the behavior tracking functionality in a way that allow you to automate, and we're busy working on that. So we're going to remove goals as it is today to make space for new things to come, and we just want you to take note of that. That will happen towards the end of next week. You will no longer see it in the left panel. You will no longer be able to add it, and it will also be removed from the user profile in the conversation view. So that's an announcement from our side. And then lastly, on product from my side, a feature that we're adding, and it will be launched soon, today, even tomorrow. It's a new type of collection. So I'm also going to show you a video, but before I do that, let me explain it. To date, we have collections in Turn, and if you open a collection, you'll see the chat list on the right, and that looks at conversations per user. But we had feedback saying that operators struggle to find messages that they need to answer because the chat list takes you to the end of the conversation. And with all of that, we started designing a new type of collection. We refer to it as a message collection. The great thing about message collections, and I'll show it to you in the video, is that you will see all the messages that meet your collection criteria. When you go through those messages, the conversation view will be updated directly. So you will jump to the message, you can answer, and you can help the user, and there's the ability to tick a message off as done. With that, let's look at the longer video showing this to you.
So today I want to show you our new collection type. It's a message collection. Previously, collections were based on users only. On the screen, you see a collection with a search criteria where it's any message from a user that contains the word help. On the right-hand side, you will see a list of messages. Previously, this was a list of people and the conversation, the chat you're having with them. But if you look closely, you can see that my name, Nielke, appears multiple times, as does Pippa, as does Lisa. And the reason for that is that in the conversation with us, we've reached out with a message containing help more than once. The other great thing that we've added to this conversation is if you would click on a message in the list, it will show you in the conversation view, it will take you directly to that message. In a user collection, if you select the chat, it will take you to the bottom of that conversation. But if I click on Lisa's name, you can see it's highlighted lightly in gray, the specific message that you need to answer. Something else that's great about this conversation is that I can see, okay, this user needs help, don't know when they should go to the clinic. I can respond as usual. Your appointment is on Thursday, and I send it. And now I want to say, well, I've marked these messages as done. So I'm clicking the little green dot, and you can say they are there. But also what happened on the chat list is that they were filtered out. So on the chat list, you will only see by default messages that's not marked as done. A message is marked as done when you click on it, and you have the teal tick next to it. So I can look at my done messages, and that's the one I've just answered. I can look at all of them. I can also just look at my to-do list, and I can use the tick on the right, and I can bulk mark messages as done. I'm happy with those as done. I click it as confirm. And once again, if I look at my done list now, the list is much longer. So this is the new type of collection. Please read the documentation on Learn, and you will soon see this in your Turn dashboard, and it will help you to answer users more quickly. So today I want
Great. So just to recap, we've added voice notes this month. We're adding the message collection. Go and look at your insights with a custom date range picker. Look at the dates that matters to you. And then please check out Build and the personas. Manish will speak about it, but we're going to start focusing on doing stacks training in our advanced training sessions. Come there, come learn about the personas, learn about what's possible in Build, because behind the scenes, we are making the drag and drop user interface. We're working on that as well, but yeah, come and learn as we go, because you guys will benefit a lot from the new engine. So I'm handing over to Manish.
Hi, thanks, Nilka. Hello, everyone. I am Manish Manohar, and I'm community manager at Turn. It's always great to be here. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thanks, Lisa. As you know that our build feature is available for everyone to use. That means we can now create complex automation using something called as stacks. We'd like to showcase the stack use case of one of our amazing client called Greenpeace, and they have converted their opt-in thread, which they were using earlier, to a stack to enhance the user experience. By using stacks, they could better personalize and personalize all the conversation, and they can also use something called as lists feature inside stack. On the right hand side in this video, Lisa, can you please play that video? Yeah, you can see once a new user comes in and sends them a message, it will start an onboarding flow, which will ask for the name, then it will personalize the message, then it will ask for the country, and with a new feature called list, and then that completes the WhatsApp, the onboarding flow of that particular user. So earlier they were using threads, but now since they wanted to personalize it and wanted to use more features in it, they decided to start off with this thread, and gradually they'll be transitioning their other threads into stacks. So that's the first one. These are like some early adopters. We have also set up a quiz playbook for you to use. So you can see in this video, the user is like answering the questions. We have created this placeholder for you to use. So at the end of the quiz, this stack will answer or give out the score of that user. And you can see the flow here, and that's the last question, and that's the score of the user. And then we can learn more about the score, or we can exit the flow. So that's how this quiz playbook works. We'll be creating a lot of these playbooks so that you can directly load these stacks and playbooks and start using them in no time. There are few playbooks already in your stacks if you access them, but as time goes, as we come across interesting use cases, we'll be creating more playbooks. Okay, so in order for everyone to get up and running with stacks, we would like to announce that we'll be covering stacks in our next in our 3 advanced training, which will happen next month. Feel free to join those training sessions. The dates are mentioned here. You can book the slot from that link. We'll be sharing this link later on in the forum. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, lastly, you can join our forum at chatforimpact.io. And then you can also reach out to our support line by scanning the QR code. And you can book your slots for training from the link provided in this presentation. We'll be sharing the presentation and the video recording of this town hall in our Chat for Impact forum. So don't forget to join that forum. With that,
thank you so much, Marish. I see we've got a minute or two left for any further questions before we close this call. Feel free to unmute yourself or just drop a question in the actual chat window. See if there's any questions. Interesting question here from Lee. How are voice notes stored in the database? So Nilka, are you able to assist with that?
Lee, I think let's take it to the forum. Let me just double check with the engineers in what format, because I assume you want to know the format and how that works. Some of the attachments become like URIs. I know format was WhatsApp works with .ogg files, but let me get back to you on exactly how it is stored in the database. So we can just continue the conversation on the forum. Then everybody can also easily still see the answer.
Fantastic. Well, we've come to the end of our town hall for August. That's flown past quite quickly. Thanks so much for joining us. And just a reminder to, if you've not already applied for the accelerator, really, this is an opportunity not to be missed. And if you are in education, we'll hopefully see you on Thursday at our bootcamp. Have a wonderful month, everyone. Chat soon.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers, everybody.